attention just for a minute. It's a huge pleasure to welcome you here all this evening. My name's Chris Hall, I'm a watch writer, and it's, as I say, a great pleasure on behalf of London Watch Week. I can sit down now, so isn't it? It's a great pleasure on behalf of London Watch Week to be here and have you all here for tonight for an evening of all things Oris. Now, I was going to be joined by Oris's CEO, Rolf. I can apologise on his behalf because the Italian, believe air traffic control strikes have stranded him thousands of miles away. So, eminently deputising, we have Inan Goekdemir, Oris's regional manager, and we're joined by Chris Alexander, aka the Dial Artist. We're going to have a bit of a chat about a couple of very special watches that you hopefully have already had a chance to look at, and everything else to do with the brand. So we'll start with you, Inan, if you don't mind. How's the year been for Oris so far? I know Watches and Wonders, we saw some colourful big crowns. That's been the focus. So tell us a little bit about the big crown, why it's important, and what's been going on at Oris the last 6 months.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Oris Boutique, first of all, and thank you for being here. And I know many of you were looking forward to seeing and hearing from Rolf, our CEO tonight. As Chris said, unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it. Well, the year 2025 has been a complex year. The world we are operating in is shaped by uncertainty, inflation, political instability, and then this affects how people live and how they choose to spend their money. And Oris was certainly also affected from that. We felt that for sure. But at the same time, we think these moments are here to test the soul of a brand. And and here we are optimistic. And otherwise, I think we are true to ourselves, still, independent, mechanical watches, human. And I think that's resonating very well with markets where people are looking after, authenticity and purpose. And that's where we are, yeah. And I think a buzzword also during Watches and Wonders was value. Our customers wants to have value,
Of course.
and I think that's something that's a strength from Oris, and that's why I think we are well equipped for these challenging times.
I love how a few minutes in, the soul has already been tested. We've gone straight into the heavy stuff, man. Tell us a little bit though, so I feel like perhaps if people discovered Oris in the last few years, it might have been via the Pro Pilot, it might have been via the Diver 65, and this year the Big Crown was the watch in the limelight. So tell us about why that collection matters and what's great about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Big Crown is the soul of Oris in many ways. First introduced in 1938, back then as a pilot's watch with its oversized crown, with the big numerals. And the idea nowadays and today is different. We want to bring back the idea of having a good everyday watch, right? It's the price point is attractive. It's colorful. It's reliable and characterful, right? And here we are. And interestingly, we do have this colorful ones, and we do have the yellow one. And in the development phase, our designers were pushing for that version, and the commercial teams, they were more hesitant. And now it's our bestsellers, a bestseller among the three versions.
So what do they know, basically? The commercial, right.
Right. And exactly.
No, that's fantastic. It certainly is colourful. I really love the yellow one in particular. There's another watch though that I want to talk about, and it has it's been displayed here tonight, and it's called the Holstein Edition. Oris does this every year, released on June the 1st, which is known as the birthday of the company, right? I find it quite unusual that you release an edition dedicated to your home city, your hometown, if you like. Why? And why does it matter that Holstein is where Oris is from, as opposed to, let's say, Geneva or the Vallée du Joux, or somewhere else in Switzerland, the Swiss watchmaking tradition? Why is Holstein so important?
So Holstein is really, it's not only our headquarters, it's our home. And I know that sounds like a movie or a little bit cliche, but yeah, it's different. And I would say it influences the watches we do in a subtle way, but also in a quite heavily, because everything in Holstein, the people, the calmness, the nature, feeds into what we create, right? And I think it's not only Holstein, but it's already a part of the Oris mindset. And I think that's something you feel when you have our products, but also throughout the entire customer experience, all the touch points, you feel that everywhere. And it's, yeah, Holstein. I mean, if you have never been there, come please and visit us. It's really special. And and the Holstein edition is a watch we want to celebrate every year with our fans, our roots, our journey. It's a limited edition piece to 250 pieces, and it's something we launched first in 2020, during a time where the world was looking for more joy. And the idea was not to do that with a marketing stunt, but with something that really makes fun.
Okay. We're going to get into it, what it is and what's fun about it in a minute, but it's not the only limited edition watch we've got here tonight. Now, Chris, you have been drafted in. I'd love to know how it goes, but that's another conversation. You've been drafted in and you've created 20, I believe, or are going to create 20 customized Diver 65s. Now, they are London themed.
Yep.
You can see one, I think, on the main counter back there, and there are others around. But tell me, what do you think of when you design a London watch? Because for me, it feels like there's a fine line between touristy and tasteful.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely fine line.
Right.
And I'm going to try and work between you and everybody else.
It's fine, you can talk to people. It's fine.
Yeah, so I think the important thing or the challenge that I have is trying to make a dial that is something that is enjoyed by the masses rather than an individual. It's easy to kind of put a skyline of London and that could be easily recognizable, but that isn't something that I think is going to carry 20 pieces, so to speak, or even carry kind of the brand ethos where it's the community, sustainability, whatever that might be.
Yes.
So it's really trying to work backwards from what it is that you have in your mind's eye or what you recognize. I mean, I'm not from London, but I recognize certain landscapes from London.
Yep.
And trying to place those in a dial. And I think when you start to work through designs and you start to kind of create different concepts, you can then start to pick out themes. And the overall theme that we kind of saw was this idea of this aerial view of London. If you've seen the watch, once you shows it in the window.
It's on the counter, it was, but
so
brilliant.
The idea is that it's an aerial view of London, which is very iconic. And you have the Thames running right through the center of the dial. And then all the kind of little mosaics, those are all the main roads that lead into London. I think that kind of draws you in, and the colors as well pulls you into the center of the dial, which kind of pulls you into the center of the capital of the UK. So I think that was the idea. So there's lots going on.
And with the color as well, was there a 1960s sort of nod to the watch's origins there as well?
And I think that's the important aspect, is trying to look at kind of, as you say, the origin of the watch, what it stood for, when it was created, and kind of leaning on those 1960s kind of 70s vibes and colors. You can really pull down beautiful pastel colors, very bright, very colorful, and that's kind of drew the palette for that watch as well.
Now, we've seen the Diver 65 lend itself to a lot of really, really creative, colorful, limited editions and so on down the years. But I'm going to come back to you to ask you about the Holstein edition as a sort of comparative point. What is so cool about this watch that you might not notice the first time you look at it?
The Holstein edition has a very, very special dial. It's a complete luminous dial, and there is even our bear, on the dial visible. And this is something for us, a very important symbol, just to also, watches are not just about precision. It's a lot about emotions, and that's for us a very important point.
The bear being a sort of unofficial mascot, or official mascot of the brand.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. A slightly terrifying sort of 5 foot tall figurine at times. Is that it? Okay, and there's a lot of, right, so this one.
That's a champagne.
Oh. Yeah.
Let's assume that was the bear. Yeah, the bear's face appears when you shine a light on it, when it glows in the dark. This is just one example of Oris being a really playful brand, a brand that likes to have a bit of fun. And Chris, I want to come back to you and say, look, was that an idea that you were able to really tap into when you were approached to work on Oris Boutique? You think, okay, this is a brand with that kind of personality, and what does that influence what you do?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, you saw the Oris bear traveling around the country, and it was a kind of viral theme that you can kind of track the bear and see where they went. And I think that's really enjoyable to see from my perspective, that there's a brand that produces some very serious timepieces, but doesn't take themselves too serious at the same time. And I think this is where you see the collection moving with the colors as well, that it's moving forward, where other people may be a wee bit more aggressive in their kind of bravery. So, I mean, it's to feel the support, to have that kind of freedom to be colorful and to challenge things. And we went through several different iterations of a design,
Right.
to land on what we have today. And yeah, super proud.
I love that idea of being witness to the design process and having an understanding of how those iterations have led up to what we see here. Tell me a bit about how you work. Right? You've got a blank canvas, but it's already, in many ways, it's a finished product because a brand has already signed off on this. This is a watch. It's not a prototype or a sort of draft. What do you then do when you take that and go, okay, I need to add to this. I need to add to this in a way that's complementary and produce something that is, coherent.
I think that kind of goes back to trying to ensure that, I mean, I've got this really stupid saying, I say it all the time, you work with the dial, not against the dial. So you've got to complement the colors, so that the Tiffany kind of luminous hour markers are already on the dial kind of started that color palette theory for us. So that was quite an easy kind of win, so to speak. But you want to do something that, like you say, it isn't tacky, it's fun, it's serious, but there was a very, for me, there was a very clear thing of this has to be London themed.
Yeah.
And I kind of, hearing it, I like colors. If anybody's seen my work, I really like colors. So it kind of gave me this idea of this mosaic kaleidoscope cluster of colors when you look down on top of a landscape of London. So yeah, the design process is it can be clunky and complex, but when you work with a brand that gives you that freedom to just to say, have fun, see what you come up with.
Yeah.
And then like anything else, if you have those, if you go bowling and you have those guards up that just help the ball just tap it every now and again, just to kind of steer in the right direction, that really helps. Otherwise you can start here and end over there, and that completely miss the theme. So having that encouraging but direct kind of thing of what you want to achieve really helps produce what we think is hits the mark and on the London theme, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you before meeting you here and doing this was, how hard is it? As hard as it looks, what you do? And of course, you've actually brought a demonstration.
Yeah, you can have a
stuff,
go.
so
Yeah,
we'll find out. I haven't had a go yet, but yeah, is it a terribly challenging fine art to paint a dial in this way?
It can be. I think that's a learned process, like anything else. I mean, if you had to probably ask a surgeon, is it difficult to cut somebody open? They're probably like, no, it's pretty straightforward. But it's a learned process. And luckily, I've been doing this for such a long time that you do make mistakes, you do make errors. And I think the skill is working around those errors. You do the Bob Ross of turning everything into a tree or a flower or something like that.
Right.
But no, but please, upstairs, there is a spare dial. So if you feel as if you want to kind of put me out of the business, please come upstairs and challenge me. No, but it's good fun.
It sounds like we should be checking to see whether London's gained a borough or two in the process, right?
It probably has.
And maybe also at this point, thank you very much for making this possible, Chris. I'm thrilled about this project, and your designs are just super cool, vibrant, thoughtful, and also in a way, it has its personal touch. And I think that also mirrors how we see watchmaking. It's not just about precision, but also about expression, and that's really something reflects in that watch.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that.
I have one question.
Certainly.
Have you ever given the chance to do something that links personally to you, Oris? To create something that's you?
That's me. Not yet, but that's going to be 2.0, isn't it? Thank you. I'll give you a slightly later on.
He's young.
Because I think creation is passion.
Yeah.
it's imagination is desire. And I think when you create something that you believe this is what I always wanted to do,
Yeah.
a chance from Oris to give you that chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a double-edged sword. I think that you could,
Something you can wear.
yeah, you could be,
It's mine.
there is a fine line between art and then just basically satisfying your own ego in a sense. And I think that's a problem. Sometimes what I like isn't what everybody else likes as well. So what I personally enjoy is working with brands. You know, if Oris came to me and said, here's a dial, do what you want, I will hand them back a blank dial and like, no, I need to work with you rather than you just give me that blank. So I think that's really, and that's where the passion comes, because you have meetings, you have emails, someone says something, you watch something, you fest as it grows. That's a creative process. And where we started with what we would initially conceptualize for this is light and day to what we've ended up, which is a beautiful process. So yeah.
Yeah, and maybe
No.
what for us, it's also, it gives us a fresh lens. I mean, the way how we experience creativity with you, Chris, is now completely something different than our usual process, and that's also something really beautiful for us and a new experience, and no, really, really good.
I think it's fantastic that Oris has given you the flexibility to go and do this, but also clearly the brief within which to create something really special. I don't want to keep you all much longer from your evening. So, Inan, perhaps I just would like to ask you to close us off with some thoughts about what it says for the importance of London to Oris. That, you know, obviously London Watch Week is taking place, and you obviously decided to be a part of that. And this watch as well for the market, for the customers here. Is this, you know, as significant as that would imply that we're all here in London today?
Yeah, I would say so, because I think, the London people have been waiting long enough for such an event, and I think London deserves a London Watch Week. It's super cool, and I think, you know, overall in the UK, I mean, the community is growing, the enthusiasts and also of course the UK independent brands is also playing a part in it. And it's just wonderful to see that, and we are enjoying it. It's, for us, it's one of our oldest subsidiary in the UK, so we are really historically quite a long time here already, and we want to also grow our community, and no, it's always good to be here, and really enjoy the London Watch Week, and I hope you guys enjoy the evening here with the drinks with Chris and Chris. And thanks again for being here, and hopefully have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.